Hi guys, welcome back. Today I want to talk about this. This is the UCS Lego 75355 X-Wing Starfighter. Although it's not labelled as Red 5, it has Luke with it and it has R2. But I want to talk about it because it's retiring at the end of this year. And this is one of the sets I'm lucky enough to have. So I thought it'd be a good idea to go through it, have a look at some of the features and get your comments. If anyone has this set, I'd be interested to know. If you've got some of the older ones, let me know as well. If you haven't got it, maybe this might help you make your mind up before it disappears. So let's get into it. So, what's the good thing about this set? Well, if you haven't got a UCS X-Wing, this is phenomenal. I mean, look at this. It just, the presence of it is brilliant. I've got this on one of my main shelves. I have the Star Wars logo underneath it. You can tell how big it is. I mean, I'm not the tallest person in the world. I'm not the shortest either, but it's wide. I mean, the size comparison with one of the other X-Wing sets here is quite a lot, you know. Gives you an idea. Side perspective. Yeah. Just gives you an idea of the difference between the two, really. But yeah, brilliant stuff. So let's start talking about this. First things first. Build-wise, now this has a whopping 1,953 pieces on it. I just checked my paper to confirm that. And I enjoy building it, personally. It's really good. There's a couple of techniques in it which are interesting. It is one of those builds where you're kind of intrigued and partway through you get that joy of going, oh, that's what we're doing here. Part of that's building the mechanism for the engines, which I'll get into in a moment. Not the engine, sorry, the S4's opening and closing. But yeah, it's good. There's some great greebling techniques on here. The only bit I do want to point out, which is tricky, these bits along the side here. You know, it is a bit flimsy when you're putting it together. There's just 4 long panels which are held together by only a couple of pieces, and if you don't have the nose cone on the end, if I can show you without it breaking, they kind of... You see that? They kind of flap about all over the place. Oh, and there's another bit that's come off, which will lead me to another point in a minute, which I'm sure many of you have seen in other videos about the stand. Now, at the minute, they're not necessary for the rest of what I'm doing for a moment, so we'll come back to those. But yeah, nose cone-wise, it basically holds these in place. In terms of the S-foils opening and closing, I really like that. That's a really cool technique for this. And basically, you build this cool mechanism inside. It's not like the little model I showed you a minute ago where it's got just like a load of Technic bits in the middle doing it. This is a bit different. It's kind of a mixture of a mechanism and elastic bands, but it's got a little dial on the top. You can see that there. You've probably seen this in other videos. And you quite simply do that. The wings come down. They're pretty cool. You've got kind of one side joined up diagonally, if you can see what I mean. They don't quite, you can tell they kind of sag a little bit, but it's really hard with the weight of this thing to not do that, really, isn't it? Let's be honest. But keep turning it round and then click into place. Brilliant stuff. I mean, it's just such a simple mechanism, but it works really well for the build and just for the model, and it's just really easy to use, basically. Unless you forget which way to turn it. So just keep going clockwise and you'll be fine. So all good there, really. Next up, greebling. Now I really like this. I'll put some pictures of this up. But on the top, there's some really cool detail on the top. And the back. I don't know why, the back's one of my favourite parts of the greebling. It just looks really cool. I mean, I don't have the other extra models. Again, I'd appreciate any comments from anyone who does. But I think they've just done a really good job, and the detail looks great. I'm really impressed with it. Obviously, the colours on the X-Wing as well, it just looks striking. You've even got kind of this patch here that makes it look a little bit old and rusty. It's, you know, and all these bits. It's just brilliant, you know. And just to quickly mention as well, while we're talking about aesthetics, sticker-wise, there's not many stickers. I was quite impressed with the fact there aren't many to deal with on here. These bits are all little coloured sort of tube sections, so we're good with that. The cockpit element here is actually printed, which is great, not to have stickers on a bit this size. Basically, it's brilliant. And inside though, this bit here you can see, and there are stickers on those. But it doesn't detract from the model, in my opinion. It looks great, and I don't know if you can see in the cockpit there, but you've got his seat, you've got his targeting system and a little joystick there, sort of controller system there. It just looks great. It's a brilliant model for that. And in terms of the engines, just to quickly bring these guys into the play there, into the conversation as it were, I thought these looked too big when I first saw the images online, and I looked at some other reviews, and even on the screen now you're probably thinking, oh, compared to the other models they look a bit chunky, a bit out of place, a bit out of proportion. Personally, I found this a bit surprising, but when I built the model I was expecting to be a bit like but when I built it, I actually think they work really well with it. It's actually proportioned pretty well. It might not look exactly like the ones in the movies, but then compared to the last Lego X-Wing UCS set they did where it looked too skinny, I think they've made quite a good compromise on this. They made it look nice and chunky at the front, looks good, goes well with the model, and then these back engine parts here, I just think that they just look great. I mean, it's a really simple technique using these little pieces, but it just looks brilliant. It does the part really well. Obviously inside the wings you can see it looks very Lego-y. You've got a bit of a gap there where you can see a bit of the Technic pin holding it together and a bit of the mechanism. But yeah, really good. So let's move on to the next part of the review for this, which is the minifigs. Let me pop you back on here, Mr. X-Wing. So you get 2 in this set, just while I'm attempting to put them back on his stand. So the first one you get is Luke Skywalker. I will put some close-up images of him, because while I talk about him, you're not going to see him from this distance. So from the front, while I'm looking at him here, he's got some great printing on the front. He's got dual moulded legs. He's got his lightsaber. He has 2 sides to his head, as you would hope with some of these newer minifigures these days. One with the sort of visor goggles down, one with them up. He's got back printing, arm printing. He actually feels like a premium minifig you'd expect to get in a UCS set. And, coming back to the video again, he's got a little spot on the stand here, which I can just pop him on, and he's got a little display spot. Now there isn't a spot on the stand for R2, which I think is a shame, and I'll get to the reason why now. R2-D2 again, I'll just show you some pictures of him while I'm doing this. Front printing, back printing, he's a good little R2 model, the sort of thing you'd expect from some of the better sets. But back to the video again, I would kind of hope he had a little spot here on the stand. He doesn't actually have that. He's got his classic spot in the X-Wing. And why is that an issue? It's only an issue because of the scale. You can tell clearly on this that compared to something like this model, sorry microphone, which is made for play, it's made for minifig scale, it fits a minifigure in it perfectly, it fits an R2 in it perfectly, they both look to scale, they both look like they should do. On this model, it's imposing, it's great, it's done its job, it's a showpiece, it's a centerpiece, it looks great. I love it, it's fantastic. My only gripe about the entire set, apart from the stand, which we'll get to, is that there wasn't really any need to put R2 in here. I think if you'd have made a little false R2 head, even a piece that sticks out, or even like a strange little mini land scale R2 or something to go in there, that would have been brilliant. But he just looks out of place. I mean, I don't know if you can actually see this on the video well enough. But look, he's tiny. He's absolutely minuscule inside this massive, massive spaceship here. Don't get me wrong. I think that doesn't detract from having the set in general. And obviously, because he sits in there, I've put him in there, which is great. But yeah, that's enough said about that. Engine-wise, I like the design on these as well, just to quickly go back. It's really cleverly done. It's kind of an illegally kind of strange technique. I mean, I'm not king of techniques, so don't hold me accountable to that. But you kind of have to sit these bits in sideways in between 2 little studs, which is, I wasn't expecting that from a proper Lego model. It's really cool. And yeah, all good there. So let's move on to the stand. Right, so stand wise, I've just taken a slightly different seat here. I don't know if you can see where the little bits stick up there, basically here and the other side. Now this stand in general, it's a very sturdy stand. You can tell it's made of Technic mostly. Really good. You can also adjust it slightly, which we'll come to in a moment. But the problem with these bits is when you put the weight of the model on it, it's fine. It helps to keep the model up. It stops the stand going too far inside the model. It's not necessarily required, in my opinion, because it doesn't do anything bad to the model if it goes up that high. But these bits pop off. It's a shame they haven't done anything better about that. I know Lego did, when this set first came out, they did mention about this, and they said they'd try and do a fix, and lots of other people have done their own versions of this stand. I personally won't bother because it doesn't make a huge difference. 99% of the time I'm not moving it about, playing with it. I mean, as you can see, it's quite swooshable, which is great. But while it's on the stand, I'm not going to be mucking about with it too much, apart from, you know, opening and closing the S-foils. And if you press down too hard or wiggle it about, these will pop off. Don't get me wrong. But in general, as a stand, it's pretty good. It's just got that one flaw, that one weakness. Another good thing to mention while we're on the stand is the plaque, printed, no stickers there, fantastic stuff, as we all expect these days from UCS sets. And you can adjust it. And the reason that's important is what I'm going to get to now about displayability. So this obviously sits like this. So you've got this imposing piece sitting up at you like that, looking good. I have seen another review where somebody mentioned you can put it this way around on the stand. So you've got it looking like this on your shelf. It works. You can change the pins around a little bit so it angles down more. That works fine. Now, but for me, I've seen lots of stands online from Wicked Brick and other places where the X-Wing looks like this on the shelf. And I thought, wow, that's a great way to display this. I wish I could get a stand that does that. It's a shame the one in the set won't let you do that. Because obviously at the time, I hadn't seen how it fits into the X-Wing. There aren't really any reviews that go into that in detail. It's just a hole in the bottom. And you can see it just goes in. So logic dictates, when I actually open this set, oh, maybe we can use a stand to display it sideways. And you can. As you will see now, it does fit on the stand sideways, which means you can have it this way around. The only snag is, of course, if I just do the S-foils fall down, that the way with the plaque means that you've got it at a weird angle. You can't see much of the detail on it. It's not perfect. If you turn it round, you've got a better view there at this angle, but you haven't got Luke. You can't even see the stand really from that angle, which is good in some ways, I suppose, if you're not too bothered about having Luke and R2 sat there at the bottom, or the plaque, but it just detracts a bit from the whole reason the plaque's there, really. It's a shame. Or you can kind of do an angled front view like this, which looks quite cool, but again, you haven't got Luke. He's just kind of out the picture there. So yeah, bit of a shame that you haven't got more of an angle, but I just wanted to point that out because lots of people might be thinking there's no way you can display it sideways on the stand included, but you can. It's not at that much of an angle, but it's obviously a displayable angle nonetheless. Finally, price-wise, this set's a tricky one. I mean, it's £209.99. It's not the cheapest set out there by any means. It's, for the piece count, it's not terrible, but personally, I wouldn't pay full price for it just because it's great, it's imposing, but if you're already an X-Wing fan, you might already have one of these, it might not be for you, or if you're like me and you've really got to pick and choose what sets you've got because of your budget, then spending £209 on a set that's like a kind of mid-UCS size set, in my opinion, obviously it's a UCS set nonetheless, but in a kind of mid-size one rather than one of the huge ones, do you want to spend 200 quid on an X-Wing when you know there's always going to be an X-Wing on the market? This one, though, if you keep an eye out, I know it's November now, it's obviously December soon, it's going to be retiring, so do keep an eye out, but I found this at £129 on Amazon about a year and a half ago, which is when I bought this, and obviously for that price, it's suddenly much more worthwhile. So it's obviously up to you, it's up to your budget, individual circumstances, but I think if you can get it on an offer, even if it's sub 200, it's worth thinking about. It's a great set. If you already have a UCS X-Wing, you might not be too bothered by it. You know, it's a great set, but if you don't, and you've got one of the smaller sets like me, or you just want an X-Wing, this is fantastic. It's a great set, good display piece. Obviously, it's a little bit flimsy in places, but really good. And also, as a really quick final little note before we go, nice parts usage here. You know, you've probably seen these on all the pictures, but I couldn't not mention them. Little flippers on the ends of the wings there, on the little laser cannon sections. And obviously we haven't got any silly little toy blastery things popping out of it, which you have to try and store somewhere and it's going to fly across your living room. So great stuff there. But yeah, please let me know what you think, guys. Great build? Not a great build? Do any of you have this? Do you like it? Do you have the older sets? Do you like them more? Do you have both? Are you going to give this a miss and wait for another one to come out? Logic dictates there's always going to be some sort of X-Wing UCS set down the line, whether we're waiting another 2 years, 3 years for it to come out. It's a bit like I've got the Millennium Falcon one. I expect at some point they'll probably make an even a more amazing one of that, although that one would be very hard to beat because it is incredible. But yeah, let me know what you think. In the meantime, keep bricking it. And like, subscribe, do all the usual things. Click on the notification bell, means absolutely loads to me. And I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.